Doug Peterson yesterday on Zoom meeting with reporters, a little less than 24 hours removed from a 26-0 victory over the Carolina Panthers. Welcome back into XL Primetime. Mia O'Brien, Joe C., Matt Hayes, Leon Searcy, JJ LaSelva. The gang is all here. Even John Party hanging with us, making sure we are firing on YouTube, Facebook, Twitter, and, of course, all of our various social channels as well. Trevor Lawrence did not play in that 26-0 victory over the Carolina Panthers. C.J. Beathard, 17 of 24 for $178, a 7.4 yard per average throw. No touchdowns, no picks. Did just enough, Leon, that you need to see from a backup quarterback to win you a ball game. And so the question becomes, even if Trevor Lawrence could be cleared to play on Sunday against the Titans, the quote-unquote lowly Titans, although still an AFC South opponent, even if Trevor Lawrence says he's healthy and he's ready to go, are you starting Trevor Lawrence against the Titans in Week 18?
Well, what I saw from C.J. Beathard, I would say no, because that was a team win. That was an absolute team win. I mean, C.J. Beathard didn't do anything for us to win the game, but he didn't do anything to us to lose the game. Took care of the football, offensive line protected well. We ran the ball decently, and defensively we got after it. I mean, we flat out got after it. We got 6 sacks. We got pressure. We stopped the run. You know, I think we kept that offense, under 150 yards or something like that, total yards. Whatever. If you play like that down the stretch, the way that we were expecting them to play in December, I think you can go in there in Tennessee and win with those complement of things. But I got to see that same duplication come this week that I saw last week.
All right, we'll try and create a poll out of this because, honestly, I feel like you get one thing, like you squeeze something good out of that lemon in C.J. Beathard, and then you go again, and then that lemon is bone dry, putting him on the road against a Mike Vrabel-led team that would love nothing more than to put a sour note.
Did you not see the Titans against Texas?
They were terrible.
They were horrible.
Okay, but you know, and by the way, the Titans here at the bank against the Jags were terrible.
They were.
Okay, and this team lit them up. But at the same time, and I liked what I saw from C.J. Beathard because what does he do? He plays smart. He doesn't try and do too much. He's going to take what's in front of him. All those things. I think Trevor Lawrence could learned a lot from the sidelines watching him. But just be careful if you want to rest Trevor Lawrence, Matt, because it's legitimate and that AC joint is severe enough where one more week would help mightily. Well, then, yeah, you got to roll the dice. But at the same time,
you're not resting anybody. If he can play, he's playing.
He's
playing, man.
Yeah.
I mean,
they have plenty of players this week that could have played, but they opted to rest them.
Yeah, right, but this is man.
Probably because they knew they could beat Carolina.
Exactly, and
Carolina. Not only that, I mean, this is like literally.
This team's going to want revenge
if you
for last
lose this
year.
game. If you lose this game, you're out of the playoffs.
Yeah.
If he can play and he's ready to go,
yeah.
I don't care if he's 75%. He's better than C.J. Beathard. Play him.
Yeah. And by the way, I do think there's something to be said.
No offense to C.J. Beathard. Did a great job last week.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Like I said, we're talking about a guy who plays within his means, okay? When he takes off and runs, that's a little bit of a mule run, okay? That's a slow run, a Jaboni type of run.
It's an Iowa run.
Yeah. It is. Yeah. And so he needs, in other words, he knows what his limits are, and he's going to make sure that he gives the ball to the people that can make plays. And thankfully, Travis Etienne was there to create some offense.
Well, the thing that I noticed about him on Sunday is that he didn't press. If it wasn't there, if the ball wasn't there, he took off.
Yeah.
He took off, especially when there was a man coverage. He just took off and ran the ball and got first downs or got 5 or 6, 7 yards. I mean, that's the most impressive thing for me is that he didn't turn the ball over.
Mm-hmm.
We didn't turn the ball over collectively. So, I mean, we still got to show up there. I mean, I think me and Coach Campo was watching the interior of the offensive line early in the first half, and they still need some help. But I'm just saying, but collectively, I think Cam Robinson helped.
Yeah.
I think he brought a little attitude. Listen, him taking the helmet on, throwing it in the end zone is probably the toughest thing this offensive line has done all year.
Yeah.
I'm just being honest.
Yeah.
I'm just saying. And he brought a little attitude. He brought a little spunk. He brought a little fire, a little swag or whatever. And that might be a little contagious for this offensive line who've been pushed around all season long.
Yeah. And what's interesting, Leon, and I asked Doug Peterson this yesterday on the conference call, what's interesting is I think Cam emotionally brings such a boost. But if you look at the bulk of Travis Etienne's runs, and actually the plot chart is out now for C.J. Beathard's throws as well, almost everything was going to the right side. And so obviously that's a tribute to Anton Harrison. And Doug explained, and maybe you can elaborate a little bit further on this, that so much of it was about the backside help and if they're pulling in a certain direction. So certainly on paper it looks like much of the offense was run behind Brandon Scherf and behind Anton Harrison. But that left side, how does it still play a factor in ensuring you're actually getting push along the right?
Well, I mean, having Cam back, first of all, that now you're a little bit more secured on the left side as far as protection-wise goes, especially the blind side. But if he was a little heavy on that side, Anton Harrison coming back, he's solid, he's solidified. Sheriff played a little better in this game right there. So I just think collectively, I think the offensive line was okay. Interiorly, they still need to shore up some stuff because I noticed that they get overwhelmed. And then if they get overwhelmed against Carolina Panthers defensive front, playoff time, when the Clevelands of the world come in here, it could be trouble.
But what's interesting, and again, I think this time last week, this whole town was as, glass half empty as it's been all year. But it's funny because all last week we talked about what Derek Brown and Brian Burns could still do despite the fact that Carolina's season is all but over. And what's fascinating is we just had Jeff Lageman in the studio on Jaguars Today, and he noted that he was as surprised as anybody that they lined Brian Burns, who traditionally lines up on the right tackle. They lined him up on Cam. And that was a bit of a surprise for him and Baselli in the booth. And so the fact that they were able to hold up against two guys that, yes, I understand the operation around them isn't too great, but Derek Brown and Brian Burns are still considered two of the more ascending young pass rushers in the game, and they all but neutralized them.
Yeah, while I was watching them, Burns did get around on a twist. They ran a TE stunt when he came around,
and he got
a sack. And there was one particular time where Cam got beat inside a little bit. He didn't give up the sack, but he gave up a little pressure on Beathard. But I think the reason why they moved him over against Cam was they was hoping and anticipating Cam might have been a little rusty.
That's it right there.
You know what I'm saying? It might have been a little rusty, so they moved him over there to try to expose him.
And by the way, Burns has been rusty. He's not been very good this year.
Yeah.
Not
He's
nearly
only got
as
6
good
sacks,
after getting paid and all that kind of stuff. And so anyway, Derek Brown's a stud. Okay,
Yeah.
he is a stud. Interiorly, the stats that he's stacked up, he's impressive. But at the same time, going back to what you said, so Burns gets off on Cam, but overall they held the line more than they have for the last 4 weeks. So their physical toughness had been challenged. And Cam coming back and basically saying, you know what, we're going to win a fist fight today.
Well, there's another thing that I noticed about Cam, and I've been in that situation where when you see and you know the offensive line is struggling and you hurt and you can't do anything about it, I think that once you get back on the field, you kind of want to impose your will on the offensive line. They say, hey, listen, I'm here. I'm back. Let's get it going. And he just seems
Daddy's
like
home.
Yeah, Daddy's home. Exactly. Basically, but Daddy's home,
Print the shirts.
So that was good to see. Absolutely, that was good to see that Cam came back and it was like a whole new energy on that offensive line when he came back.
So I mentioned Travis Etienne earlier, and that was a mammoth run down the sidelines when they needed it the most because this team, once again, struggling to get in the end zone. Bunch of field goals before they finally saw 6, and they were able to get it done. And for Etienne and for all the guys that we're talking about up front, that was a big moment in this ball game.
Yeah, it was. It really was a big moment in the ball game because Etienne's got next man speed.
Yeah.
You know what next man is. Whatever the man next to me run, I run fast. That's what they do.
That was so fun to watch, dude.
That's the truth. Because he had another gear.
Because I said, is he going to catch him? And
I thought he was going to catch him. I really did. I said,
No, if anything, he had to throw Parker Washington to the side just to make his way to the end zone.
He did. So, and I'm going to tell you another thing, though. The beginning of the drive not only led to a field goal. So when Beathard came out there and he drove us down to a field, I'm not going to lie. When he first stepped on the field, I was like, this project, I don't know about this project. But I'm just telling you, he methodically went down, not only scored 3 points, but he didn't turn the ball over. He took what they gave him. And what's crazy is when this team was winning its ball games, when we was on a nice little streak, that's what we were doing.
Yeah. I think Trevor needed to see that.
That's what we were doing. We were just taking what they gave us, methodically moving down the field or whatever. And people started complaining that, man, why isn't the ball going down deep? And then when we start trying to do that, that's when we start getting in trouble.
So Coach Campo will join us, 2 o'clock hour. And so we'll break this down even further. But I see plenty of you on the text line brought to you by Lifetime Enclosures asking about it. I had many a friend texting me yesterday before Doug's conference call asking it as well. Let's dive into that. Why did it feel like, as the 912 points out, you could see C.J. Beathard going through his progressions very quickly. Trevor tends to lock in on his first guy. I know there's been a lot of discourse surrounding that in particular, but let's focus on that first part of that text. Why did it look like C.J. Beathard was so cool, calm, and collected, number one? But number two, he wasn't taking the play clock down to 5, Leon. They were getting the play off quickly, sometimes going no huddle. and they were moving the offense smoothly, methodically, but getting the ball up and down the field. Why did it look like that Sunday comparatively to the past 4 weeks?
Well, first of all, you got to know Bethard's playing with house money. Right? He's absolutely playing with house money, and I just think Beathard just was more composed. Than Trevor's been over these last 4 weeks that we've been losing. You know, he went through his progressions. Now, listen, Trevor is on another atmosphere compared to C.J. Beathard.
Right.
All right, let's just get that out in the clear. All this notion about, but he played better. Yeah, he played better for one game. All right.
Exactly.
You know,
backup quarterback always the favorite guy.
But everybody,
against the worst team in the NFL.
Exactly. Everybody loves the backup quarterback, especially
we're not
when
really
they win.
talking about this right now.
I know,
are
but
we?
fans are.
Is this really like an argument we're making right now?
No, it's not an
Well,
argument.
we do have a poll question.
Yeah, of course.
As always, brought to you by
God.
Beaver
Of course we do.
Toyota of St. Augustine. Would you go back to Beathard for the Titans game? Yes, let him play, or no, we need Trev. It's closer than you think. It's
people
around
out of your
60-40.
mind?
Yeah.
Seriously.
All right, go at 10.
Well, I
If
thought
he's
that
healthy,
Leon
he's
just
playing.
said that he would rather play Beathard.
I mean,
You're out of your mind,
I would play Beathard if Trevor's not healthy.
Right.
And only if Trevor is 70, 75%, I'm playing Trevor. But if Trevor is under 50%, he's not ready.
And like I said, you can only go to that well so often. Josh Dobbs caught lightning in a bottle first couple of games, and they figured him out. What I like is the combination of resting Trevor, letting him see success on that football field with someone else having the football in his hands, throw for a high completion percentage, get the team the dub, okay?
Yeah.
Then you go up there and you correct a few of your mistakes, and then you start to get healthy again.
Well, he also watches from the sideline a simplified offense. Is there some value to that, Leon? Because obviously they had to simplify the game plan because it's not 16 under center. Does 16 benefit from just watching that simplified operation smoothly go up and down the field?
Well, one hand washes the other. You got to remember now, a quarterback's best friend is his backup quarterback, even when he's starting. So Trevor, if Trevor throws an interception, a pick, or misses a play or whatever, when he comes to the sideline, and Brunell used to do this, when he comes to the sideline, first thing he does is ask the quarterback, what'd you see? Backup quarterback, what'd you see? What'd you see today? And then he explains what he saw. So, I mean, the same thing with Trevor. With Beathard, you know, I'm sure that they exchange words and stuff like that. Man, I know you're there seeing.
I'm getting really annoyed, actually. I'm getting really annoyed. It was the worst team in the NFL.
It was.
That had nothing to play for on the
there
road.
you go. That's the other part of it.
On the road.
Yeah, the other part of it right there is that had really nothing
I'm
to play
getting
for.
really annoyed right now.
Why you gonna steal the
Because
man's
you're talking
thunder?
about
You're stealing the
literally
man's thunder.
You're talking about – I think he played really well. That's what backup quarterbacks are supposed to do. Like when they need you, you step in, you play well. I give him all the credit in the world. He played a very good game.
Well, not all the credit in the world.
It was the worst team in the NFL.
Yeah.
And he played at home.
Yeah, exactly.
And they played for a team that was desperate to win.
Leon said it last week, and really the last couple of weeks. Why are you paying the man? Okay?
Yeah, why is he there then?
He's there for this exact reason.
Exactly. I'm saying, why is he getting paid? Why he's on the roster? You got to utilize him when it's deemed
So what did he
necessary.
do? So what
if
did he
you
do?
go in there and you say you're going to start him instead of Trevor Lawrence on the road against the Titans.
No, if Trevor's not healthy. If Trevor's not 50%.
Now, do we think that he was
I don't care
healthy
if
enough?
Trevor's 50s. If he says he can play, he's playing.
Like if that Carolina game was do or die, you know, like literally they had to win to get into the playoffs. If it was the last week of the season, was Trevor healthy enough to play, we think, Mia?
I think it's a coin flip.
That's the bigger question. That's what I brought up to the boys during the handoff with Jaguars today.
Or were they just like, hey, we can win with CJ here. Let's just play CJ.
Albert Breer spoke with Beathard and spoke with some other people around the Jags camp, and he reported yesterday that he got a quote from Beathard that last Monday or Tuesday, Trevor Lawrence went to CJ and said, yeah, man, I don't think it's going to happen this week. And CJ said, man, he's as open with me as any quarterback I've ever worked with, and he never says he's out. And the fact that he said it's not looking good on Monday or Tuesday says to me that despite the fact that there was so much optimism in the building in the second half of last week that Trevor may have been able to go.
He was never going to play.
Right. But then again, you have to pair this with, and again, this is all going to be in hindsight 2020 in a couple months from now when we ask some people around the building. But it is so fascinating that the Jags said, the training staff said, hey, you know what? Let's get Walker Little and Ezra Cleveland some rest. I was as surprised as anybody that Tyler Shatley was announced in the starting lineups, and I talk to Tyler Shatley nearly every week. I helped him pick out a new cable plan last week. Shout out to the Shatleys. So that's where it was so surprising, but I think it was hey, you know what? Do we need this reset? do we need a second to say, you know what? Let's get our guys healthy. And maybe it wasn't just from the training staff. Maybe it was from Trevor himself who said, you know what? Maybe it's because it's the Panthers. Maybe it's just because we need this healthy reset. I don't know for certain, but I know that you saw it in other areas of the lineup and how they attacked the Panthers. And so that's why I truly do not know what the health of Trevor Lawrence is right now and if he will be able to play on Sunday.
Well, they were able to make that. I think they were able to make that decision because there was no desperation. I think if this was like another team, let's say if it was a Buffalo or something like that, I think that maybe the decision that would have factored in. The fact that lowly old Panthers, they're basically saying, listen, if we can't win this game with some of our backups, then we got problems.
I think you go to the blackboard. All right, what do we got? We got a situation. Okay, we got this guy injured. All right, next question, who we playing? Okay, all right, next question. You think we can get him without him? That's it. I mean, honestly, I think that's how it unfolded, basically, more than anything else. And when you're just talking about it like that, they probably felt like they needed to course correct on the play call sheet because it looked to me like Doug might have done a little bit more of that. They needed to course correct him running the football. They needed to be more physical up front. And so a lot of those things they asked of their football team. And it's like you always say, Leon, whenever the backup comes in, everybody needs to tighten their belt. Everybody needs to step forward and bring a little more. And I think that's basically what happened.
Yeah, especially defensively.
Yeah.
I haven't seen this defense play like this forever. They had 6 sacks against this team. Now, their offensive line is terrible. Their 2 tackles, Aquanu and Moden, they were bad. They were just bad. They were getting beat inside, outside, twist game, all that kind of stuff. So, I mean, Josh Allen and Walker Little just teed off, which was
still
good.
Made the plays, though.
Trayvon Walker.
Huh?
Still made the plays.
Walker.
Yeah. They still made the plays.
Yeah,
Here's another
absolutely.
thing, too, is what was the number Baselli put out there when the season began?
25.
23.
Yeah, I know.
He actually went
right
back.
there.
He went
He
from
did.
25 back to 23. He should have stayed at 25.
Yeah,
We all made fun of him. He nailed
I know I did.
Nailed
I thought he was drinking
Did
wine.
you see how quickly he was quick to pull up McManus's tweet during the broadcast? Oh,
No,
you got to see. During the broadcast, Tony Baselli pulled up Tom McManus's tweet about, man, I'm hearing Baselli on 10-10 right now, and he's saying they're going to combine for 25 sacks. Good luck with that. During the broadcast.
That's
Baselli
great.
quoted
There
Here's
was
the-
a lot of downtime. In
Here's the
that game.
Here's the number I have gravitated to in this whole equation. 25, 23, I don't care. 9 is what I care about because Coach Campbell and I said we're going to get Trayvon to 9. We're 1 off of that. 1 off of it. And if we do that, then we're
No,
obviously
you're there. He's got 9 now, doesn't he?
Yeah.
He's got 9 now.
That's what I'm saying. 1
you
off
meant-
of
you
it.
meant
In other
before
words,
the game.
beating
Okay,
9.
right.
And so we get to next week. And so at the very least, we're what in the game of golf is described as dormy. We cannot lose. Coach Campbell and I. I'm looking dead red at Matt Hayes. We
Wait a
cannot
second.
lose.
Wait a
And
second.
As a matter of
Both
fact,
you and Dave at one point this season said it was a bus pick.
we don't remember that.
Right, you don't remember that.
Matter of fact, I'll drink to that. You know what?
I give him all the credit in the world, man. He has gotten better and better every week.
You know what?
He's a good player.
You could just take that.
He's a
okay,
good
I'll
player.
go David
I'm not-
Tepper on you right now.
I'm not saying he's a 1 overall pick, but he's a good player. He's a
How
good
about
player.
David Tepper just throwing beer on a Jaguar fan?
Do we know it was beer?
We don't
It looks
know.
like a mixed drink to
It
me.
could have been
It was
vodka.
it was a light brownish color. So
It
I'm
could have
not
been
really
bourbon.
sure.
He certainly was drinking
been
to do
tobacco
something
spirit.
that dumb.
Come on, man. Don't do that to Duval. Hey, listen, if you're out there, let us know if you were underneath the box that David Tepper was.
Now, what would have happened if we had climbed in that box and just went, I don't know, with
Like
Viking-
2017 Seahawks on them?
Exactly. You know? I mean,
So-
come on now.
Hit the text line 641-1010, or you can go to YouTube and find 1010XL and let us know, honestly, because there has to be a Duval Nooner that was right there under the box. And Tepper is 1 row up, and I don't know if you guys know this, but I have gone suite level from time to time. So I do have a sense of what it's like up there, and you do have fans right below you. And so,
He must have been getting it from the fans the whole game.
oh, yes, of
Love
course.
No, but it wasn't like they were egging him on from the video.
Yeah, at
he
least
just,
it didn't-
He just was
That's
upset at
true.
the interception and his
He's
first.
upset about his franchise being terrible and his quarterback being probably one of the worst in the league.
And
if
his
not the
first
worst.
thought was, you know what? Let me throw this string.
And don't waste beer or bourbon. Don't do it.
It's expensive,
Okay.
especially at Everbank Stadium.
You better
my guy.
believe it. You
He's
try and
the
buy a
own-
bottle out
he's
of the
the owner. He
suite
got-
area.
He's the owner. That's like throwing hundreds.
But so let's end with that before we take our next break,
Throwing a
Leon.
one.
I don't think a financial penalty or some sort of disciplinary action, a fine, is going to do anything to David Tepper.
No, you know what I want? I want a full apology to Duval.
Yeah.
I want him. Yes, that's what I want. That's what I want. I want an apology. I want him to come on the air and
On
apologize
our show.
on our
On
show
XL
and
Prime
apologize to the Duvalians.
That's it. That's it. That's all we need.
That's all we want.
I think we need to
Is that
tweet
what
at
it is,
him.
Duvalians?
That's it, Duvalians.
Is he on Twitter?
I just made that up.
Is he
I
on
know you did.
I
Instagram?
did.
We need to find him. David Tepper, this is your open invitation to join XL Primetime. When we come back, we'll stay on the Jags. We'll also get back to the bowl games from the week that was. Leon, I'm going to leave you with this little note. Yes, the Jaguars now have to go on the road. Yes, it's a little bit more difficult for Josh Allen and Trayvon Walker to maybe, face a Titans offensive line that's bad, but maybe not as bad as the Panthers.
They're terrible.
Will Anderson last week against that Titans offensive line, and granted he was at home, he played 12 snaps, 2 sacks, 6 pressures.
Wow.
That's doing work.
This is XL Primetime.